Yeah.
You want to like him, but you can't.
Are you listening?
What?
Are you listening?
Did you bring me on this show to insult me?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all don't want it with us, man. We straight gangsters over here,
Straight
man.
gangsters. Yeah, good morning and welcome back. That's right, you are listening to Scout Team Radio. We bring it to you hot and live each and every morning, Monday through Friday, right here on 12-Ounce Sports Radio. I am one of your gracious hosts. They call me Loudbeard.
You are the most egotistical, self-deluded person I have ever met.
Maybe that's true. And the man on the other microphone, you may know him as Chris America, but I know him as the man who likes to eat cereal every time I pass the mic over to him.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is your boy, Chris America, coming to you live this June 27th, 2019. And Loudbeard, how dare you, sir? I do not eat cereal. I eat bacon and eggs every morning like a real red-blooded American.
Oh, okay. I thought you were a serial murderer.
Oh.
There you go. All right, too early for cheesy jokes this morning. But, Chris America, I have something that I need to tell you because we talked quite a bit yesterday about Netflix, and last night I turned on my Netflix, and I'm thinking, man, there's not going to be anything on because Chris America told me there wasn't going to be anything on, and he obviously knows everything. And then all of a sudden, bam, it hits me like a wet noodle.
Yep.
Into the Spider-Verse, now on Netflix. Watched it last night. Yes, it was delicious.
I'm there. I'm going to go
watch that. It was like cereal
tonight.
in the morning. It was amazing.
Such a great... See, now, Scotty Kaiser, that is a real Spider-Man movie. That right there is the Spider-Man movie. All these other Spider-Mans are just less than.
Yeah, and I was just looking at the timeline here on Twitter, and Scott Kaiser actually tweeted about this morning a couple minutes ago. Maybe he's listening in, maybe he isn't, but good friend of the show. He said, let's see, Netflix, based on your browsing history, we suggest Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Now would you like to watch? And he says, despite overwatching it 10 times now, yes, please. And so he watched it too. I'm telling you, Netflix does it. They anytime you feel like you're getting lulled a little bit, like, oh, there's nothing good on, boom, they do the right thing and they hit you with something good.
And that one will stay.
To me,
that one won't be taken down by Marvel. Yeah.
Yep, that's a Sony product. So I liked it. I just watched it the first time with you. And then I watched it again last night. It gets better every time. It's like a fine wine.
It's a good storyline. The way, because it isn't animated, but the way they do it is just so, I don't know, it's so unique. It's very comic booky, but also future. It's just a blend of so many different artistic styles that it's just amazing. It's amazeballs. And it's the best Spider-Man ever.
Okay,
Miles
so you
Morales
put your seal of approval on it. Good.
Yes. Which, I have a question about Miles Morales, okay? So his mom is Hispanic, and his dad is black, but is his dad like half Hispanic? Or did he just take his mom's name? There's so many questions I have about this that throws me off about his name being Miles Morales.
All right, well, let's go ahead and not think about that because it sounds like that's going to hurt our brains this morning. It's a little too early for that, isn't it?
Okay, well, I have something that will maybe hurt your brains because it's just mind-blowing how awesome our fans are.
Yes, let's hear it.
We are, I just checked the stats. Stat machine says we are now up to 15,000 downloads all time with Scout Team Radio. And there's so many downloads with this show. We have Scout Team Radio is our mainstay. We've had the Loudbeard Sports Show. Is that what it was called? The Loudbeard?
Yeah, that's right. Loudbeard
Or was it
Sports.
Get Weird with Loudbeard, where you discuss all of the things you like to do with jelly and Jello and all that other
that
stuff?
was a segment we had on Scout Team Radio once, Get Weird with Loudbeard. But I did like that segment. I need to get back to that one.
You do.
Get Weird with Loudbeard.
What you do with Crisco
It's a catchy
oil.
title. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Coleslaw Wrestling's my favorite.
We also had the College Tailgater Show with me and my buddy Sean and Chris and Sean Take Over the World. That was another show that we had on there about movies. We've been dabbling in a few podcasts, but now our two main podcasts are obviously this one, Scout Team Radio, and the Battle Inside podcast. And I think it was like beginning of April, Loudbeard, I said we were at 10,000 downloads. We are now at 15,000 downloads, and we've had 2,200 in the last 30 days. Nearly 2,300.
That's amazing.
Yeah. We'll reach 2,300 easily by the end of the day.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And that doesn't even include the live listens. 12-ounce sports radio, it looks like it's really starting to take off. Primetime Angles comes on in the afternoons, and he's really been kicking butt, getting a lot of listenership. We've been doing pretty solid in the mornings, and we've got a couple good evening shows. The Captain Lou Extravaganza. We Talk Sports Good on Wednesday nights, and then on Thursday nights, obviously, Craft Fruit Sports comes on every Thursday night. We talk about those guys quite a bit. But some solid shows on. World Hockey Report comes on, Girls Beer Sports. So all kinds of great shows there. And we're really starting to see the listenership on the radio station improve, and our own podcast seems to be doing well. And our partnerships out there with Full Press Radio Network and with Barn Burner Network, all of those things are doing really well. So,
yeah.
Chris America, it's a great time to be alive.
It is a great time to be alive. It's a great time to be on Scout Team Radio. So, Loudbeard, just please, whatever you do, we're in this middle of success, right? And I know, like, you've ventured out on your own. You wanted your own solo album. I have too. But I think we work well together. So whatever you do, do not opt out of your player option. Take the $31 million, especially if you're injured. You know what I mean? Stick with the band. We're here for you. You need to be here for us. Stick with the band. Don't opt out. Just like Kevin Durant.
How did you know I was injured?
Kevin Durant.
Who told you about my testicle injury?
I've had
how did you know about that?
With your family. I've had interesting conversations with your family.
Okay, this is uncomfortable.
It was while we were discussing The Bachelorette. It just came up.
I think they're going to be able to save it.
It was like Tessa said,
I'm hoping.
Luke P. Dee Dee said Luke P. sucks balls, and then she's like, well, speaking of sucking balls, did you hear about Loudbeard's testicular injury?
Okay.
And I was like, no.
Now my feelings are hurt. This is hitting a little too close to home.
Blame Dee Dee, not me.
A little too close. All right, so carry on with your story, please.
Now I forgot where I was going. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, don't opt out. Do exactly what Kevin Durant did. Kevin Durant, he opted in. He's staying with the Warriors, 31 million strong. He was going to sit out this injury. He'll probably re-sign with the Warriors, and the Warriors will be back better than ever.
Okay. You think he's going to re-sign with the Warriors? You think this is what's going to happen with this?
What are you talking about? He opted in. No, he opted in, right? Didn't he opt in?
No, he opted out.
And he came out, and there was a huge parade, and he said, I'm sticking with Golden State. I'm moving with you guys. We're a team. I'm a team player. It's never about me. I'm not like Russell Westbrook. I'm all about the team. I'm staying in Golden State. And that's not what happened?
All right, so I feel like I'm watching Into the Americaverse with Chris America, going into a different universe and watching this Kevin Durant story play out, because this is not what happened, Chris America. Your universe is upside down. You're in Bizarro world right now, and I don't know what you're trying to say, because this isn't what happened. This isn't
what happened then?
Well, he said, well, I'm injured, but I don't care. I don't care, because I'm opting out of this contract because somebody's going to pay me a max bazillion-dollar contract, even with an Achilles injury. And he decides to walk away from $31.5 million guaranteed player option for this season with the Warriors, and he is on his own, free agent, and somebody will pay him that money, whether it is the New York Knicks or anybody else, really. Everybody will give this guy a shot. He's getting paid, Chris America. He will.
I think it's going to be the Knicks. I think the Knicks are going to be
you're eating cereal. I hear you're eating cereal. Did you just eat cereal?
No.
How was that? Serial killer. Good?
I think he's going to sign with the Knicks. I really do. I really think that's going to be the only team stupid enough to give him a max contract.
Oh, I bet there's going to be more suitors than that. But you're right. Knicks.
No.
I've heard rumors that the Knicks are getting a meeting with Sir Kevin Durant right at the beginning of free agency. So they're going to be one of the first teams to pitch. Yeah, could be. Could be in the Hamptons. I don't know. Could be anywhere. He likes the Hamptons, though. This is his comfort zone. That's where he likes to hang out.
Loudbeard, will the pep rally for Kevin Durant coming to New York be bigger than the pep rally that LeBron James got in Miami?
Yeah. There's more people in New York, so
Will it be in
I think
Times Square?
he might be in a wheelchair. I mean, it could be awkward.
Well, I think
This isn't
the way to announce him is he needs to get on the New Year's ball all the way to the top and then just write it all the way down as he's being announced.
Okay. Can we not talk about balls? It's sensitive.
I know. I'm sorry. I forgot.
No, you're not sorry. You brought it up on purpose. Damn
maybe.
you. Okay, so whatever you want him to do, I think he should fly in like Spiderman. I'm going too many Spider-Man references this morning, but fly in like Spider-Man, building to building, land safely on the streets of New York City, and then a big giant crowd around him just erupts in cheers. To me, that would be the perfect fairy tale way for Kevin Durant to make his way into New York. It would be so beautiful.
If you're the Knicks and you sign him, you tank hard this year, right? Like
Oh,
you don't even
absolutely.
get over 10 games, over 10 wins.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you want to get a high draft pick, and you want Kevin Durant. And honestly, with that high draft pick after this season tanking, you probably try to trade that for an established all-star or an established veteran that would
Kinda
match
like
with
what
Kevin
the-
Durant.
Kind of like what the Cavaliers did when they got LeBron James back.
Yes, just like that. I mean, they won a championship on that method. I think it's a good method.
Yeah, it is a great method, especially now that the Warriors are kind of broken up. It's a really good method.
Well, Cavaliers are broken up too. But oh, you mean for the Knicks? Oh, yeah, okay. So the New York Knicks, I mean, if they get Kevin Durant, I think it'll be easier for them to entice another star, but I think they might wait. And so I read a report that if Kevin Durant ends up not going to New York, they are looking at another star, Boogie Cousins. They are taking a serious look at Boogie Cousins to fill in if Kevin Durant doesn't sign. Talk about the ultimate, let's just say it's of consolation prizes, you know?
Yeah, it really
You're
is.
hoping Kevin Durant. If you're hoping for Kevin Durant and you get Boogie Cousins, yeah. That's a sad. Then you cry in your cereal, won't you, Chris America?
That's like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of what that's like. It's like, I don't know. Yeah, I got nothing this morning. My brain's not working right yet. But Loudbeard,
Yes.
I think this means we need to go back and change everything we thought we knew about that Thunders team. That we've always blamed Russell Westbrook for chasing KD off. We've always said that Russell Westbrook was the selfish player, and he's the ball hog, and he's this diva, and he's this, and he's that. And really, this whole time, it's been Kevin Durant. KD was the problem in Oklahoma City. He became, I don't necessarily know that the word problem is a word for the Warriors because they won 2 championships and probably could have won a third if he was healthy. But this dude's been bouncing around the NBA just like, I'm going to do whatever I want. I don't care about teammates or what the road is that we've had together or fans or anything. I'm just going to do whatever the hell I want for me. Me. It's all about Kevin Durant. Now I'm going to say that on 15 other burner accounts.
Okay. I see where you're going with this, but I'm going to debate you a little bit. I'm going to embrace debate. I'm like the Democrats going at it last night. I'm going to say to you, I think it's both. I think we don't need to point fingers at any one guy. I think if we put both of them in a room and we said, okay, who's at fault? We point at both of them. I think it's both Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant. And when you have 2 divas to the level of divaness that both of these guys are, that's when you get this problem. And that's why one of them had to leave. They couldn't stay together because there was too much diva in the room. Now, Kevin Durant comes off as just this nice, friendly guy. He's really soft-spoken. He seems like he's a friendly guy, where Russell Westbrook is more aggressive. He's more of the alpha. And we initially thought, okay, Russell Westbrook, you're the problem. But now that we've seen what Kevin Durant is and we've seen what he's gone through and how much of a diva he really is, I would say that it is both of their faults. They should both not be so diva, but they are, and they are who they are, and both of them are the reason why that Thunder team could not mesh.
Yeah. But do you think Russell Westbrook should be commended for staying in Oklahoma City a little bit more? Like maybe Kevin Durant has finally surpassed him and his divaness, or am I just reading too much into loyalty and a guy doing whatever he wants?
Yes, he should be commended because the way the NBA is now, we're seeing these superstars move from team to team to team. This is one of the biggest free agent classes we've ever seen, with some of the biggest names we've ever seen. And there isn't the loyalty. There isn't the Dirk Nowitzki or the Kobe Bryant kind of lifestyle where it is your team and you know that they're not going anywhere. It is a different NBA, and players are jumping from team to team to team. LeBron James being an example of that. Now Kevin Durant being an example. These are two of the biggest names in the NBA. When you have guys like Steph Curry and Russell Westbrook who decide to stay on their teams and be a part of that team for the long haul, that to me does deserve to be commended. And the fact that Oklahoma City is a small market or mid-market team, and the fact that Russell Westbrook has made his choice to stay, to me, is actually puts him probably a little bit ahead of Kevin Durant. Fingers still pointed at him as being one of the problems why this team couldn't be successful, but at the same time, he is an amazing player, and he has stayed there, so I do think that deserves some sort of commendment.
Now, on a scale of Jerry Rice to Dennis Rodman on his wedding day when he married himself, how much of a diva is Kevin Durant?
Well, Kevin Durant, so we're going to say Jerry Rice is the anti-diva. Is that what we're going with here?
Yeah,
because
he's the
he's
zero.
a team guy.
Unless
works hard.
Unless you think that Dennis Rodman on his wedding night when he married himself is the low scale of being a diva.
Well, Jerry Rice was on Dancing with the Stars, and he got a little diva-ish after the fact.
Yeah.
But while he was a player, he was the main anti-diva. And then Dennis Rodman, obviously the number one diva. Yeah, I would put him. I can't put him towards the Jerry Rice side. He's going to definitely be more towards the Dennis Rodman side. I'm going to say he's 60% Dennis Rodman. 60%.
Okay.
That's still a lot. It's a good number. It's a high
so he's
number.
a little bit. I would say he's a little bit below Terrell Owens on the diva scale.
Yeah, he's a little below T.O. Probably a little below Randy Moss, but not by much.
Now, I put the 50%, I put Chad Ochocinco. I put him at 50% because I think a lot of his divaness, I think his sense of humor is misconstrued as divaness.
Okay, I can live with that. I think
So,
he was trying to be funny most of the time, and a lot of people took it as being diva.
His sense, his divaness was 50% diva and 50% I'm just joking around, guys. You take life too seriously. I don't take life seriously. Because, he stayed with that Bengals team for a really long time, and it really wasn't until the Bengals didn't want him that he left.
Oh, no, I completely agree. He wasn't trying to force himself out. He worked hard in the regular season. I mean, changing his name and all that, that was kind of antics that create that diva persona. But you're right. It was really his sense of humor. He's trying to be a fun guy. He's trying to be, entertaining. And it wasn't about diva. He wasn't necessarily the most selfish player in the world. He seemed like he was a guy that really worked hard.
TJ Hushamazu. Oh, I love that commercial. One of my favorite fantasy football commercials. You can't draft him if you can't say his name.
Yep, that was one of the
even
best.
had TJ Hushmanzada. They got along well. Maybe I'm misremembering the guys at Craft Brewed Sports. They're out of Cincinnati, so maybe they know better than I would, but I don't recall any problems between those two guys or between him and Jesse. I'm going to say Jesse Palmer, but that's not it.
Carson Palmer.
Carson Palmer, that's it. I was thinking
Jesse Palmer's brother.
I was thinking of Gator legend Jesse Palmer turned Bachelor legend turned sports commentator turned. What is he doing now? Is he on Good Morning America? Where's that guy at?
I don't know. He's everywhere. He is everywhere. I was on a side note. I went in the other night and my wife was watching TV, and there was that show called The Hills, which was you kind of remember that? It was on MTV.
It was the
about
from
10
the
or
OC.
15. Yeah. So
yeah, my ex-wife used to watch that.
Yeah, so I guess they're doing a show again, kind of a comeback of The Hills. And you know who was hosting the reunion show? Michael Strahan. I said, why the hell is Michael Strahan hosting a reunion show for The Hills? It didn't make any sense to me, but maybe I'm just off base. I think I lost you, Chris America. I heard an internet little glitch, and then all of a sudden we went code silence. I will carry on. We talk about bad teammates. We talk about Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook being bad teammates, but there's another guy other duo out there that I think is probably one of the best group of teammates ever, and that's Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. And Klay right now is saying that he will re-sign, at least this is what's being reported, which, these reports 50-50, but Klay is saying that he will re-sign with the Warriors if he is offered the max deal. And so if the Warriors, they know that he's got an ACL injury, and it's going to have some recovery time. He more than likely will be out the entirety of this season, and will probably still need to struggle a little bit to get back into playing shape next season. But this is one of the all-time greatest shooters of all time that you can keep on your team. I don't see how the Warriors don't offer Klay a max deal, even though he's injured, to keep him together with Steph Curry, because Klay and Steph by themselves I guess I should say Klay, Steph, and Draymond, to me, that is still a championship caliber team. So even if Kevin Durant walks and Kevin Durant leaves, you're still going to get a championship caliber team out of the Golden State Warriors if you can re-sign Klay. And I think that is their number one priority. And yes, next season may be a little rough because it'll be the Steph and Draymond show, and that'll be tough to watch because it's not going to be that same elite Golden State Warrior basketball team that we have seen in the past. But if Klay Thompson comes back the following year and you have Steph, Klay, and Draymond, you are in good shape. So hopefully they can get this to happen. But yes, definitely Klay is the guy that is on Golden State's radar, and they have probably already conceded to the fact that Kevin Durant will probably be on another team come next season. All right, well, I was going to talk about Patrick Mahomes because I know that's Chris America's favorite player, and I know he's the number one person on the Patrick Mahomes fan club, but since he's having some technical difficulties, I think I'll go ahead and jump over to some other awe-inspiring topics. And I think I'm gonna have to go out of the realm of sports for a minute. I teased this at the end of our show yesterday, but San Francisco, California is very much a progressive state. They're typically the first comers to any of these new progressive type rules or laws or governing, and they have come out in the city of San Francisco and banned e-cigarettes. So I want to talk about this because
let's do it.
Oh, look who decided to show back up. So e-cigarettes, Chris America. Mm-hmm. Am I an old man? I need to ask you because it's probably better to get your perspective on this. Am I an old man when I am out there on my lawn waving my fist saying, why the heck are these young kids doing these electronic cigarettes? And you drive by them in a car and you see the whole car is like it looks like it's on fire. There's all this smoke coming out of it. And you just see it's the guy driving with this like weird pipe in his hand, and it's just an electronic cigarette. I think these things are terrible. I don't think they're any better than regular smoking. And I think it's good that San Francisco has banned these things because people try to sneak them in all kinds of places. They think just because it's an e-cigarette, it's okay to smoke it in a restaurant. But it is not, Chris America.
I agree and disagree at the same time. Now, you say it's just as bad as cigarette smoking. Personally, you're right on the medical side of it. It is just as bad. We can debate that. Neither one of us are doctors, but I'm sure there's some hairs that are being split. Yes, you are, Dr. Loudbeard.
Yes.
I'm sure there's some hairs being split here and everything, but forget about all that. The way that I see that e-cigarettes are better is when I go to a bar and people are smoking e-cigarettes is a million times better than going to that smoky bar and coming home and smelling like just an ashtray, and you have to take a shower. You have to basically burn your clothes because it's in there forever. And for me, I wear contacts, and when I go to a bar that has like a ton of smoke in it, my eyes dry out, and it's the worst. I don't get that from e-cigarettes. So from that perspective, I prefer going to your IPA type bars now because I know that the millennials will be there. They'll be smoking their e-cigarettes, and that's fine. If I go to the bars that have pool tables and dartboards, it's generally going to be a smoky bar, and I love playing pool and darts and drinking beer, and I hate that I have to, sit through a cloud of just cigarette smoke in order to enjoy it.
No,
When you
I'm
get drunk-
100% with you, man.
When you get drunk and you come home at midnight, 1 o'clock, the last thing you want to do is take a shower. But there's been so many times where I'll lay in bed and I'll just smell myself. I'll smell my arm. I smell my clothes. Even if I change my clothes, it still smells. And you got to get up and you got to take a drunken shower so you could just fall asleep. And I just hate that.
The worst part is it's in your hair. I
Yes.
hate that because that's
now,
what
luckily
you smell.
you probably have it in your beard, which is probably worse.
Whoa,
Because you can
don't
actually
talk about
smell
my
your beard. Where our hair, it's in my hair, and you can kind of, even though we both have short hair, you still feel like you can smell it, right?
My beard 100% of the time smells like heaven. So let's not
Okay.
talk about that, okay? But you're right. The hair smell is the worst. And I mean, now that I'm getting to be an old man, waving my fist on the lawn, I don't go to too many of these smoky bars like maybe I once did. Now, recently I went to a pool hall, one that I used to frequent quite a bit when I was younger. And when I was in my college days, I used to go there all the time. And it was not Clicks. No, it was
Okay.
trick shots over by
Okay,
Waterford.
yeah, right,
I lived
yeah,
over
yeah.
that way.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So it was used to be like you walk in and it was literally like you were walking through smog, but it was all just cigarette smoke, and it was the worst. But I went there recently, and they had converted over to where they're non-smoking, and so all the smokers go out on the back patio to smoke. And
That's awesome.
oh my gosh, it's such a better experience. But yeah, I remember going in there. I would muscle through it. I guess you get used to it over time because you go there so
you
much.
do, once you're in it, you're kind of like, okay. Now the
Okay,
contact
it is
thing
what
for
it
me,
is.
I can't get over the contact thing. Like my eyes turn dry. That's the one thing that it sticks
get
with me. Like
past.
the smell and everything else. Yeah, you eventually get used to that, but until you leave, then once you leave and you're in fresh air, then that's all you can smell is the smoke on your skin. Like it's in your pores. It's gross.
It gives you the heebie-jeebies, Chris
It
America. That's
does.
what it does.
It ruins your buzz. It ruins everything. It ruins your night's sleep. But yes, Loudbeard, back to the law being passed. I tend to lean on the libertarian side of things. I am a registered libertarian, though I'm not like a staunch libertarian. Like, oh, you can't take my guns. I should wear a seatbelt if I want to or not. You can't take my land. I'm not full blown libertarian, but when it comes to these things, I'm like, you know what? If people want to smoke, let them smoke. If people want to do e-cigarettes, let them do e-cigarettes. I look at it this way. My right to swing my fist stops when it meets your face. So as long as whatever you're doing doesn't affect me, I'm good.
All right. I like where you're going with that. You love America.
America and freedom.
All right. So, Chris America, I'm
Hey,
going to give you a
Loudbeard.
couple. Yes.
Knock, knock.
Who there?
Not America, because freedom rings.
Dang. That
I don't know
never
if that's
gets
how
old.
that joke goes, but it's around that.
I like it. It works. It worked. It worked, Chris America.
Mhm.
So, something that is all American and really rings America is baseball, right? So, College World Series. Vandy beats Michigan
Good.
to win the College World Series. There we
Good.
go.
No
Vanderbilt,
offense, but
SEC.
The
Mhm.
ex-Miss America is a Michigan fan, so that makes me happy.
Yeah, the funny part is I remember going into this, I believe David Green had given us some insight on the College World Series because we do not follow it at all. And he said, Arkansas and Florida State are the teams to watch. I don't see Arkansas or Florida State on here. I see Vanderbilt and Michigan. It's weird how that works. That's why we play the game, isn't
That's
it?
why we
That
have
way?
That's why we have a playoff and a tournament and things of that sort.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Florida State disappointing their fans once again. That's
the story
par
of
for the
Florida
course.
State baseball, man.
that is par for the course.
Par for the course.
Yep. And then since we have 30 seconds left, before we go to our commercial break, I do want to let you know that U.S. men's soccer did top Panama, and now they're moving on in the CONCACAF Gold Cup. Aren't you excited about that? They're in the quarterfinals, Chris America. God bless America.
Yes, America. We're gonna kick some soccer butt.
All right. Well, I don't want to do this to you, Chris America, but I might have to because we might have to have a little bit more soccer talk, but it's not really soccer talk. Megan Rapinoe, she goes to blows with our president, Donald Trump. I will have inside scoop on this story as it's breaking when we return from a quick commercial break. Hey, Kawhi, what are you laughing at, man? This isn't funny. Fantasy sports reimagined. FanDuel, that's what I'm talking about. It is more than just fantasy sports. It's the best way to watch the games, win real cash, and bring the action right to your living room. Just choose a contest, make your picks, watch, and win. And if you go to FanDuel.com/STR today, you can get a $5 deposit bonus. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/STR. Come on, man. This is not a laughing matter. If you've been listening to Scout Team Radio for a long time, you know that myself, Loudbeard, has placed a bet or two in his day. That's right, I've lost the beard bet, I lost the romper bet, but one place I don't like losing is when I bet money, and I can easily do that at MyBookie. That's right, you can go to mybookie.ag, use promo code 12OZSports, and get a 100% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Hey, guess what? That is a lot of money. Do it.
When I'm working hard, I build up a thirst for sports. That's when I grab a cold 12-ounce sports radio. 12-ounce sports radio. Quench your sports thirst. Hey everybody, it's your favorite Patriot, Chris America, and I want you to listen every single weekday, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and on replays from 11 a.m. to noon of Scout Team Sports. Listen, George Washington did not cross over the ocean blue in 1492 to defeat the Nazis, so you can listen to the same tired national clickbait sports stories. So once again, tune in to us every single morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and then we replay from 11 to noon. I will see you there, and God bless America.
Thank you all for listening in. We appreciate you, Mr. and Mrs. Listener out there listening in. You are the best. You are our number one fan, and we love you guys. We are Scout Team Radio. He's Chris America. I'm Loudbeer. We bring it to you hot and live each and every morning, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m., right here on 12-Ounce Sports Radio. We also simulcast on the Full Press Radio Network, and we go on the Barn Burner Podcast Network. We're all over the place, man. I'm telling you, life is great. If you want to interact with us, hit us up on Twitter. Right now, the Twitter line is open. Hit us up at Scout Team Radio. Tweet at us. We will read your tweets on the air. We will interact with your post. We will do all of that fun stuff. So make sure you do all of that. Also, if you want to get social with us in other ways, we are on Facebook. We're on Instagram. Just search Scout Team Radio. And if you don't catch the live shows, if you catch us live 1 or 2 days a week but can't catch us every single day, make sure you download that podcast. Subscribe to it and go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you can, and search Scout Team Radio. You can get all of the great episodes here with Scout Team Radio, and we would appreciate that support. Now, with all that being said, Chris America, I did tease this Megan Rapinoe story, but I don't want to get too political with you because I know somehow this will get political, right? Like this is how politics starts.
It's funny because you mentioned the Democrat debate, and then you're talking about the San Francisco repeal, and now you're talking about Donald Trump. And like, man,
I don't want to get too political. Yeah,
Loudbeard's really getting political. He watched the debates last night, and then he watched Spiderman, and he's like, I'm gonna go all in.
The truth is, I watched Spiderman. I didn't
have
do
to get
debates.
too political with it.
Yeah, it's true. But it's a story.
It is a story, and it's one that I think is going to continue to happen as long as Donald Trump is president of the United States. So I think what we should do, Loudbeard, is we should try our best to just stick to the facts of the story and try to leave our own political opinions about it. And so I just kind of glanced over it. And so here's the thing. Whether you like Donald Trump or voted for him or not, it is very well aware to everybody that he rubs people the wrong way. And whether you like the fact that he rubs people the wrong way or you commiserate with the people that he rubs the wrong way, it's just a thing. And so Megan Rapinoe says, not going to the effing White House. Now, Loudbeard, let's discuss this. If you were invited, let's not even say Donald Trump is the president, but let's just say a president is in office that you do not like, you despise as much as some people despise Donald Trump. Would you go to the White House?
If I despised the president, like no matter what president it was,
Well, it doesn't have to be Donald Trump, but
right. No, I get what you're saying with that.
But you do know how much people despise Donald Trump, right? I mean, that's a thing. Like, we're not saying that you despise him. We're just saying that other people despise him. So let's say President Muzzlebutt, you despise President Muzzlebutt. Don't ask me where that word came from. Would you go visit President Muzzlebutt?
I'm going to say the short answer is yes. I think it's an honor to be invited to the White House, no matter who the president is. And I get that we're going to have differing opinions. And as a nation, everybody's going to have differing opinions. And right now, the current president, Muzzlebutt, can be very polarizing, right? Like, there's a lot of people that love and a lot of people that hate. And that's what we get with politics. When we have a bipartisan system, sometimes you get that. You just get it. It's polarizing. But for me, despite what my beliefs are, if it is a Democratic president or a Republican president, I'm going to go because I think it's a great honor to be invited there. Just as a patriotic person, I think that would be just an honor for me. So I would go no matter what. But I also don't have the same views that some of these really outspoken athletes or celebrities have. So I get their point.
Your passion for politics doesn't exist to the level that theirs does.
No, it absolutely does not. I'm very casual, and I kind of watch what I can and stay in tune to what I can. But for the most part, I just try to stay as neutral as possible. It's not worth getting into debates with people because you're not going to change their mind, and it's just going to end up heated.
Yeah. Now, I will say this, and this is the only opinion I'll give on the matter. The final tweet that Donald Trump said is that he's going to, whether they win or lose, he's going to invite Meghan or the team. Like, he's going to invite the team, win or lose. Meghan should never disrespect our country, the White House, or our flag, especially since so much has been done for her and the team. Be proud of the flag that you wear. The USA is doing great. The only thing I'll say about this, and it's the one thing that bothers me the most about Donald Trump, is that he sees any sort of negative opinion to him to be a disrespect to our country. And I'll just say this, whether you like Donald Trump or not, anybody who gives an opinion on Donald Trump, whether you, or just the president in general, whether you agree with that opinion or not, is not disrespecting the flag, is not disrespecting the country, and is not disrespecting the White House. They are doing what is the American right, and they are doing what every single man and woman who's ever put on a military uniform and fought for the freedom, they are doing what those people fought for. They didn't fight for a flag, they didn't fight for a White House, and they didn't fight for a president or even the country. When I swore in at the Coast Guard, Loudbeard, I didn't swear to protect anything other than the U.S. Constitution, and I wish that Donald Trump and every other politician and president would realize that when people criticize them, it's the most American thing they can do. Again, whether you agree with that opinion or not agree with it, and I'm not saying I agree or disagree with Meghan's opinion, but Meghan voicing her opinion and stating, I do not want to go see Donald Trump, is American as American gets. Whether she's on Team USA or not, it's not disrespectful to anything. It's actually embracing the beauty of our country that allows you to criticize the government and criticize the president and be protected of your freedoms. That is all. Chris America out.
I had to put it in there because that
Thanks,
was
buddy.
American.
I appreciate that.
There you
Sorry,
go.
I get on this. Like I said, I'm very
American.
passionate about America, and not just America, but any country that protects those freedoms of people in their nation to criticize their government and their leaders, and that they have the freedom to express themselves. That's a human right, not an American right.
All right. Well, I'm gonna take a little swerve on this whole thing. One,
Let's swerve. Let's get off the political train.
We did have a tweet come in, and it said,
okay.
At Scout Team Radio, our president also went all old man on social media and tagged the wrong Megan Rapinoe in his first tweet complaining about her. I didn't know that. I didn't realize that part. But, yeah, that's good information to have. That's kind of funny.
You know who that happens to the most? There is two John Jones on Twitter, and one is the John Jones, and his Twitter is not at John Jones. I can't remember what it is. But there's another John Jones, and I feel so bad for the other John Jones because so many people hate John Jones that this guy must get so many hate notifications, and he has nothing to do. I'd honestly, at this point, he has to enjoy it because I would have changed my Twitter handle a long time ago if I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, but that's like instant popularity, right? Like you get all kinds of followers because they think you're the other John Jones.
He should almost have a show. Like, I would listen to a podcast where he just reads tweets that people sent him thinking that he's the other John Jones.
That's not a bad idea. I like it. I like it, Chris America. So I'm gonna swerve on this a little bit, but it's gonna be the same topic. It's not gonna be so political. It is going to be more about what Donald Trump said in his tweet. I'm gonna take out one specific thing he said about winning first. So before Megan Rapinoe comes out and says, "I'm not going to the White House," shouldn't she focus on winning? And should we not be that confident as a team, the U.S. team? Should we be focused on winning? Because they just barely squeaked out a game 2-1 in this last round, and they're going in, and it's going to get tough competition here on out. So I think the U.S., before Megan Rapinoe starts worrying about whether or not she's going to the White House, I think as a team, the U.S. women's national team needs to focus on winning the World Cup before they worry about celebrating it.
Now, you're saying that, or you're saying that Donald Trump is saying that?
Well,
Donald Trump did tweet that.
Yeah, he referenced that in the tweet, and I'm not sticking up for him. I'm just saying, in general, if you're an athlete and you come out and say about winning before the tournament's over, to me, that's always a bad look. Like, I always remember when Vince Young came out and gave that whole Dream Team speech when all the Eagles were picking up free agents left and right, and it looked like they had this awesome team. And they ended up, I think, being like 8-8 or something that season. I've thrown that number out there, but they weren't that good. And when you go out and say that you're a dream team and then you stink, or if you come out and say like, oh, I would never go to the White House, and then let's say they happen to lose, which, God forbid they don't lose, but if they were to happen to lose, wouldn't that be a bad look on her? Because shouldn't you never assume that you're going to win and you're going to be able to celebrate in sports before you do it? Because I always feel like when athletes do that, it's like the kiss of death.
So, okay, I'm reading the story now, and here's the thing. This is why it's good to get the complete story, and it's kind of this happens to athletes all the time where they'll do interviews with magazines like months prior, and I don't know why magazines take forever to get these things out, but like remember when who was the Jaguars player who just trashed all of these quarterbacks, and then the magazine article came out in August when he really did the interview in April or May? Who was that? The Jaguars cornerback?
Jalen Ramsey. So it's kind of like, oh, he's talking trash about all these quarterbacks before the season. Well, no, he actually talked trash back in April and May. And while you can debate whether or not he should, the timing is not up to him. The timing was up to the publisher. So she didn't come out after this win and say, oh, I'm not going to the effing White House. This was an article done by Soccer Magazine 8x8, released a previously conducted interview in which Rapinoe answered a question. She was just asked the question, like, if you're invited to the White House, are you going to go? Like, we know that you're very much against Donald Trump. We know that so will you go? And her answer is just, I'm not going to the White House, or I'm not going to the effing White House. We're not going to be invited. She thought the point was moot. So this is not a distraction thing. This is not a she's not focused thing. This was just something that she did in an interview probably months prior to this happening. And the timing is just bad with when this magazine decided to release this article. And it wasn't even she went out of her way to make this political opinion known. It's just
everybody knows, everybody who follows Megan Rapinoe knows, like we said, she's a very passionate athlete when it comes to politics and her beliefs. And so naturally, when you're interviewing an athlete like that, especially in a sit-down interview, it's not during a press conference after a game or anything else like that. Those are the things you discuss, right? You discuss the player's interests and values and what they would do or wouldn't do if certain things happen. And that's all this interview was. It has nothing to do with her being unfocused or predicting that she's going to win. It's just somebody said, like, hey, if you win, are you going to the White House? And she said, we're not going to the effing White House, she said. The question she seemed to think was moot anyways. We're not going to be invited.
Okay, so you have to pull out facts and like the real story and try to win a debate that way. I mean, damn, why would you do such a thing? I mean, this is sports talk radio. We're not really dealing on facts.
Right, and we're talking
on
politics.
emotions.
We don't need facts
raw
when we're
emotions.
talking
Okay,
politics.
all right. Let's move on from this topic. There's a couple other things here that I can talk about, and let's get off of politics. I've out-politicked myself to death here. Adidas unveils a new Donovan Mitchell shoe, and it is in partnership with Marvel. So the first shoe that comes out is Spiderman inspired, and it has 4 different color schemes. The first color scheme is called Amazing. It's blue and red and looks like the Amazing Spider-Man. The next one is Symbiote. It is a like gray and pink. Then it's got Stealth, and then it's got Iron Spider. So he's got 4 different color schemes based on the Marvel superhero Spider-Man. So this is the political / Spider-Man episode of Scout Team Radio. This got weird.
Yes, it is.
I like Marvel, though. I'm not going to go buy his shoe. I'll be honest. I'm an old man. I wear those white New Balances. But, I'm not going to go out and buy this Spider-Man shoe. Not happening. And did you hear yesterday? You had mentioned it early on the show, and may she rest in peace. Beth Chapman passed away yesterday. Not good, man. I always hate to hear when someone dies. I know she also was somebody that could have been polarizing, but may she rest in peace.
Yeah, I kind of thought about bringing that up during our smoking conversation. Her and Dog, I mean, you watch that show, they were just constantly smoking. And I figured, you know what, we don't need to go into that because if you don't know by now that is very much a possibility of how you're going to die when you smoke heavily or just smoke at all, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah,
I believe there was enough truth ads on through the last 15 years that you should have figured it out by now. So, we can move on from that. I do have one other little bit of a sad story. I'll get over this quickly, though. That way we can end the show on a positive note. But remember when that girl was hit by the ball about a month ago?
Uh-huh.
That was a big story. We talked about it quite a bit. So I saw a follow-up story, and it talked about some of the injuries that she suffered. So she ended up with a skull fracture, which is very serious, and she had bleeding on the brain and a brain contusion and brain edema, and it ended up being a pretty serious injury. Now, she's doing much better now, which is good, but she is having seizures, so she's on anti-seizure medicine for that, and the doctors don't know what the long-term effects of this are going to be. So just very serious. We didn't know how severe the injury was when it actually happened, but finally it comes out in a report with all the details of the injury, and we know that just for this one injury alone, I think baseball does need to get serious about the netting issue. Now, I've seen some teams overreact to this, like the Chicago White Sox, I believe, are working on extending netting all the way down the line, which is fantastic. Other teams probably not as quick to address this issue, but the netting in baseball has to be done and has to be done now.
Yeah, for sure. And it's crazy that it's taken 100+ years to get there.
All right, so I got one hot topic I need your little bit of debate on here, and that is about the Washington Redskins, your favorite team. So Joe Theismann comes out, and he says that Dwayne Haskins should be brought along slowly and should not start his first year. So this is the debate that has been kind of changed in the NFL. We have Theismann, who is a old-school football player, and he's saying bring him along slowly, but every time we get a first-round draft pick, it seems like these teams are throwing them out to the wolves immediately. So do you think that a young first-round quarterback in Dwayne Haskins on an offensive team that probably doesn't have the weapons really to be super successful this season should he be sat for one season when there is an opportunity for him to learn behind other quarterbacks?
Who's the other quarterback? For him
Case
to learn
Keenum, they
behind?
picked him up.
Okay, is that who you really want learning, like to learn from?
Well, you
I mean,
get
I
a
get
season
it when
under
you
your
have-
belt.
I get it when you have like Eli Manning or, Brett
What?
Favre, but when you have Case Keenum as your starter, I don't know what value Case Keenum can bring you other than just like, hey, just don't do what I do because I suck.
He had that one good season with the
Oh,
Vikings.
that's right. Who am I thinking of? I was thinking of that other guy from
Brock
Never mind.
Osweiler.
No, I wasn't thinking of him. He was drafted by the Jaguars. He went to Missouri.
Oh, Blaine Gabbert?
Blaine Gabbert. Yeah, that's who I was thinking of.
Okay, so Case Keenum, he had a good season with the
Case
Vikings.
Keenum, yeah, okay. So he's
He
not
went
a
over to
bad
the
quarterback to
Broncos.
learn from. Yeah, I can see him sitting behind Case Keenum. All right, I changed my stance.
All right, well, this is the problem. Most teams aren't willing to wait. One, Jay Gruden, I'd have to say
Yeah.
he's probably on the warm seat, if not on the hot seat, right? So
Mhm.
as a coach, are you willing to wait one more season?
No.
Knowing that, yeah, you're not, right? So I think Dwayne Haskins is going to play, but is that what's best for him, and is that what's best for his development? And that's where those decisions are tough to make. But I see him starting. I see him being out there.
And that's what's kind of weird with the NFL is these owners and GMs, they know where they sit with their coaches. And like they know that Jay Gruden probably can't afford to have another bad season. So why do you draft a guy with a coach that you could possibly fire, and then you're going to hire another guy who either has to get rid of the guy that you did, kind of like what the Arizona Cardinals did, or you force them to make it work, or you find a coach that fits that quarterback that you drafted high? I just don't understand it.
Well, you could be like me, and you could be hopelessly optimistic, thinking that it's Super Bowl every year.
Yeah, I guess so.
You never know.
But
All right.
I just know that if Jay Gruden gets fired at the end of the season, it's not like they just decided at the end of the season. They kind of already it's already on their mind right now as we speak.
Yeah, they probably have it set like, okay, we need to do at least this well this season and see some progress. Otherwise, he's gone. So is that line 8-8? Is it 9-7? Is it 10-6? Wherever that line is that the GM and the owner kind of draw, that's typically, I think, what the coaches have to shoot for. And if they don't hit it, then they're out. And in this situation, when you have a young quarterback and you have, the veteran quarterback that you had last season get injured, that's not going to be playing, you're in a tough situation as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
So if, let's say they do start Case Keenum, and Case Keenum goes out and he's 0-2 or 0-3 to start the season, they're throwing Dwayne Haskins in there, whether Dwayne Haskins is ready or not, because you're not going the whole season going 4, 5, 6 losses. You after 2 or 3 losses, you're jumping the gun and you're putting in your rookie quarterback because you need something to happen. You need a spark, and that's exactly what will happen. Now, other quarterbacks out there, probably similar to Dwayne Haskins being top 5 quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
He has been tabbed as the favorite to win MVP this season. Chris America, do you think Patrick Mahomes can repeat?
I do think he can repeat, but it is very difficult to repeat. It's kind of like what you said with James Harden winning it last year, and that helped Giannis win it this year. A lot of times we don't like repeat MVPs. We like to keep it fresh. We like to keep it new. I think another strong favorite for me is going to be Saquon Barkley for a lot of people. Like if he does well again this year, I think they'll tab him as the MVP. Who else is out there? I mean, Tom Brady is always there. If he has another stellar season, they might say, man, he's 41, 42, still doing it. Let's give him the MVP again because of like how amazing that feat is. So he's got some competition. It's not going to be easy for him to repeat, even if he puts up the same stats. And the other part about being MVP is if you put up less stats the next year, even though they're MVP stats, if you put up less than what your MVP year was, they normally don't give you MVP.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I will say the player that is a non-quarterback with the best odds to win MVP is Ezekiel Elliott from the Dallas Cowboys.
I don't know.
That would be
he's
cold
kind
day
of
in
fallen
hell.
off these last two years, hasn't he?
Yeah. I don't. Again, these
not
are
like completely, but
odds
his
makers.
rookies. Yeah. No, I'm just saying, like, but his rookie season was phenomenal, and he just, I mean, he's still good. Don't get me wrong. You still want him on your fantasy team, but he hasn't quite been there yet since.
I feel you, man. And speaking of fantasy football, I saw a fantasy podcast that was out there. I think it was one of these major ones, and they said they had like this list of things that they were going to be discussing on fantasy football, and it said, "Stay away from any player on the Washington Redskins offense." Chris America, I'm hurt right now. I'm really hurt, and I can't even go on any longer, just like this show.
Sorry, bud. Well, good news is tomorrow's Friday. Hopefully that picks you up.
I think it will.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow. We got a fantastic draft. We're going to be drafting, I'll tell you tomorrow. Make sure you tune in.